Hello everyone, welcome to Selenium Automation Tool session. In this video, I am going to share the basics concept about Selenium Automation Tool. Let's move to the Selenium Automation Tool session. Before jump into the Selenium concepts, we wanted to know about few basic things about Selenium. First, we need to know about why the name should be the Selenium for this automation tool. Actually, the selenium is a non-metallic element which comes from a joke made by Huggins in an email while making a competitor named Mercury, which is developed by QTP tool, saying that you can cure mercury poisoning by taking the selenium components. So that's why they are mentioned the name as selenium, which is a competitor to the QTP. Let's think like in the IT industry, most of them they are using the selenium comparing to the QTP tool. Nowadays, most of MNC company they are migrating the selenium automation tools which are already developed the scripts from the QTP also. Okay, the selenium is a robust set of tools that supports rapid development of test case development for any web applications. And also there are some sort of tools are available in selenium to automate web applications or to automate any web browsers across many platforms. And also it is open source tool, we nothing to worry about the paid versions of an selenium because it is totally free. All the suite of tools are open source. Selenium provides a rich set of testing functions specially geared the needs of testing in web applications. And selenium operations are highly flexible because it allows many options for locating UI elements in a web application. How many types of locators we have? Let's take an example: id, xpath, css, class, name, etc, etc. Why we are using these locators? While comparing the expected result with the actual result which is occurred in the real-time applications. Alright, next we jump to the next slide. Now we'll discuss about the Selenium features. It supports multiple browsers. It supports Firefox, Chrome, Opera, IE, and Safari. See, suppose let's take an example. If we develop the scripts in Firefox and we have an option to execute the scripts in other browsers too, without changing any piece of code, just we are changing the browser instances. That's it. Remaining the thing, remaining things of code, everything is same. We can't do anything. Everything should be common for all the browsers. And the next feature is it supports multiple languages like PHP, C Sharp, Ruby, Python, Perl, and Java. It supports multiple languages. Not only it supports Java, not only it supports PHP, it supports multiple languages. This is one of the advantages in Selenium. And next feature is supports multiple operating systems like Windows, Android, iPhone, iOS, and Linux and Solaris. It supports multiple operating systems too. So what are the features we have in Selenium? It supports multiple browser, it supports multiple languages, it supports multiple operating systems. Now let's jump into the Selenium add-ons. What are the add-ons? What are the integrated APIs which are linked with the Selenium? Let's take an example: Apache Ant, Log4j API, POHRs. These are the integrated APIs which are add-ons to the Selenium. And coming to that frameworks, JUnit, TestNG, and NUnit. These are the unit testing frameworks. We are using these frameworks while executing the developed automation test scripts which is developed using the Selenium. And it supports DB connectivity, JBehave, Cucumber, Mail API, and Reporting API. So these are the advantages we have when we go for the Selenium automation tool. And coming to the continuous integration add-ons. What are the add-ons will Selenium will support as part of a continuous integration? It will support Jenkins, Apache Ant, GitHub, SVN, and Maven. These are the continuous integration plugins Add-ons, they are useful for Selenium while executing the scripts without manual interaction. Like let's take an example. I can develop like a sort of 100 test cases. I wanted to execute 100 test cases without manual interaction. Then we can go for Jenkins and we can trigger the build based upon the code pushed into the GitHub as well as SVM. Coming to that framework, how many types of framework it will support? It will support major automation frameworks like data driven, keyword, hybrid, and page object model. These are the frameworks Selenium will support. Coming to that components, what are the components we have? Selenium will have four components: IDE, RC, WebDriver, and Grid. These are the four components. So that's why Selenium is a suite of tools. What are the suite of tools? IDE, RC, WebDriver, Grid. These are the combination of components. We can call it like in the Selenium. Why automation testing is required? To reduce the human effort, to perform sanity test of an application on daily basis. We can go for regression testing of an application on any changes we have in the code. And what is the scope of automation? We can perform functional, UI, client validations, database validations, and also it will handle the exception handling also. Alright. Now let's jump into this comparison between manual and automation testing. Automation testing is nothing but we are using any automation tool to execute test case, whereas manual testing performs manual interactions for executing the test cases. While using the automation testing, it will save time, cost, manpower. Once you can record that, it is easier to run the automation test when comparing to manual testing. Any type of application can be tested manually, but automation testing is recommended only for stable systems. And we can say like in the example, ADDONS testing, monkey testing are more suitable for manual execution. Let's go for regression, sanity testing. These are the useful for automation testing. And manual testing can become repetitive and boring. Coming to the automation testing, once you can develop the scripts, we can execute those scripts in any number of times without manual interaction. Now let's jump into that automation test versus manual test. First we'll discuss about manual test. See, manual testing is boring, we know that. No one wants to keep filling the same forms. It is very boring and iterative. There is nothing new to learn when once testing manually. People tend to neglect while doing the manual testing because when we testing the application multiple times, people tend to neglect. No one maintains a list of tests required to be run if they are manual testers. The effort which we are given is same each time in manual testing. In manual testing, once you can test the application, we cannot reuse them in the manual testing. Then coming to that automation testing, on the other hand, we have like some coding knowledge, but we have to think about like some challenging part also. They have some fun and challenging to write any test cases. One has to carefully think of design for reusability and coverage. We have to think the reusability and coverage while we are developing any test cases. And we have to require analytical and reasonable skills while developing any test cases. We need to think about the logically when we develop any test cases. They represent contribution that is usable in the future. So this is called automation test versus manual test. And coming to that framework, how many types of frameworks we have in Selenium? Just now we discussed. There are many frameworks like module, library, data driven, keyword driven, hybrid framework, and BDD framework. All right. What is a framework? Why we need to develop a framework? What is the necessity of framework? Whenever we are developing a framework, as I can mention below few points, these are the considered in the framework part. Like let's take an example: scriptless representation of automated test, data driven test, standard scripting and team consistency. Like in a company, everyone will follow like some framework, then it is very difficult and new one can anyone join in the company, they are very difficult to understand the framework structure. So that's why everyone we can follow like in some set of standards, then we can go for the team consistency and the consoling the reporting structure and encapsulation from the complexity. We have to avoid the complexity when we go for the framework and implement and maximize reusability while developing any test cases. All right. I hope guys, this video will helpful to understand about the basics concept about Selenium automation tool. Thanks guys, thanks for watching this video. Let's meet in workshop training with real-time example. I'm going to give like in the real-time example with the sample piece of code along with the frameworks. So I hope this would be very helpful to you guys. If you like this video, please like it, leave your comments and share this video. Feedback and suggestions are most welcome. Thank you guys. Bye bye.